My name is
Hello everybody. Welcome back to the 3D Printing Lab. If you're new here, my name is TJ, and today we're going to get started with the EZABL Pro assembly. Now, I'm just going to make sure that our chat is working here. So we're going to do a little chat test over here. Chat test, and let's make sure. There we go. Chat test. Cool. Okay. So as you can read by the title, today we are going to be installing the EZABL Pro from TH3D on my Creality CR-10. So today what I did with the Creality machine is I'm going to bring it over here. It's quite large, so be prepared for, like, everyone knows the CR-10 and everything, so it's going to be the entire table. So today, with my CR-10, recently I got an Ender 3, which I didn't feature on this stream because I just didn't want to set up a stream for it. So recently with my Ender 3, I got that and I built it because it's a kit and everything. I'm going to be doing this the entire stream, by the way, if you're new around here. So I got my Ender 3 recently. Focus. Okay, so I got my Ender 3 recently, and as you know, that comes in a kit for everyone who knows the Creality machines well. So that comes in a kit. So what I did today is I broke my CR-10 down into the exact same components in how it comes in the Ender 3. So that's the bed gantry assembly, that's the two uprights, that's the top here, everything's separated. and I put it together myself because my Ender 3 works great. I've had it for about a month now. It's working beautifully. You get the point. This, on the other hand, I have been trying to fix for a month, and I have not been able to get it to work. So I'm installing the EZABL Pro. So that's this sensor right here. So this is the sensor right here. It's just a pretty much inductive sensor. You can pick this up on TH3Dstudio.com. There is a link in the video description to where you can access that. And there's also a link in the video description to the build guide for this. So there isn't actually... So I'm just making a video, a live stream, on how to do this. So today, with this machine, I took apart I broke everything down into its components, its main components, and I put it together myself. I cleaned some stuff down, tried to at least, get all the dust out of the pores and everything, all of the cracks and everything. But yeah, so right now I'm taking off the fan shroud, and I printed this little bracket. This is the bracket for the sensor. And I'm pretty sure it just goes like right over. Does it go over the sensor? Over the mount? I'm assuming it goes over the mount. So it goes like this, over the mount, and then we install some screws in there. That's not very smooth. So I have these M3 by, what are these? These are M3 by 10s for installing this through the block, because same screws are not going to fit in there. There's no way that they would. So I'm just going to screw those in. And this file for the mount is the one that TH3D provides for the EZABL. The most important thing about this is you have to make sure that when you're installing it, that it's level, that the sensor housing is level. You don't want it like skewed to the side or anything. So this is just the bracket. So as I was saying, this is the one that they include in their file section when you download the TH3D unified firmware, which I have already flashed onto my CR-10 motherboard. So this should be a pretty quick stream. I'm not trying to get a printout of this. I'm just trying to get the thing installed. Tomorrow I will work with this on getting it. So yeah. So then it's sensor in here, and now we're just kind of tuning this up. It's supposed to be about 2 millimeters above the nozzle. So there's a little bit of plastic on mine. So I'm not going to try and get the live adjust Z or anything today for this. What does 2 millimeters look like? Ugh, I don't have calipers on me, do I? Ugh. What does 2 millimeters look like? No idea. Okay. So we're just gonna, I guess we're just gonna put this sensor in here, see what we get. I think that's a little high. So let's get the nozzle on the bed. So we want this about 2 millimeters above the bed. That's, oh, I feel like that's high. I feel like that's good. Okay. So we're going to raise this up. So I took the one top nut off. I took the bottom nut off, I mean. And the top one is what I'm using to raise and lower the sensor. And then this one I'm just going to tighten here. Tighten that all there. I don't intend on this taking long. No more than 45 minutes. Max. I don't think it's going to be nearly that long. I don't know what 2 millimeters looks like, and my digital calipers are not down here. I found my digital calipers. Okay, so 2 millimeters is that. That tiny little sliver there. So 2 millimeters looks like this. Yeah, I'd say that's about 2 millimeters. Yeah, perfect. Okay, works for me. Okay, digital calipers over here. Now, they were very specific about the wires, so you need to give it enough slack so that it can move around, but not so much slack that it's like a lot of slack. So there's a photo in the build guide on what is the best. There we go, undid that cable. I was going to install a BL Touch on this, but I thought this sensor would be better. Because, you know, also, they're a small company, and I like supporting small companies, especially in the midst of this. So, I need some zip ties. So, let's see if I can switch to the document screen. Give me 1 second to switch this around. Window, there we go. So here are the instructions. It doesn't look great, but the formatting wise, but if I do full screen, will it look better? Yes, it will. So it's up here, I think. Nope, down here. There it is. Okay, so we want our sensor to look like this. So let's switch back to the main cam. And let's take a look at this again. So I'm going to grab a zip tie. And we want this cable right here to be, let's do a little swoop right here. Swoop there, and then just a little bit. So we'll go right about here. We'll zip tie all of this together. Now I got to do this again in the right spot, so we're going to go like that. Now we don't want it to be too tight, or else we could crack the wires, we can crimp our Bowden tube, and we don't want to do that. That's good. Then we're just going to route this all the way to the back. So let's feed this along the chain. And we're gonna do it right here. If anyone's wondering what this little like chunk is in my Bowden tube here, those are push connectors, because I replaced the fan in here and I didn't want to bring it to the workbench to like this from where it was to put the new fan in, because I was getting some heat creep. So yeah. Plus, and if anyone's wondering why I'm installing the EZABL on this, it's because I like auto bed leveling machines. I like to not have to deal with this. So also, what I did today is, you can't really see, but down here, underneath the bed, you see this little orange wedge. These are the TH3D solid bed mounts. So the bed is no longer spring-loaded. Well, it is spring-loaded to some extent, but it's not on springs. So now so you have to do that when you're installing the ABL. Either that, or you have to nylock the, well, not nylock, but you know what I mean, you have to, I can't think of the word. You have to stop the bed from moving, essentially. Because the bed needs to be somewhat level for when it's leveling it, for when the sensor's leveling it. And I'm just going to chuck a zip tie right on here for this. And that should be good there. This is all zip tied together. Sensor isn't installed. She's not going anywhere. Cool. And there we go. There's the EZABL all wired up here, going around there, all the way down here. The cable is all the way over here. Cool beans. So now what I need to do is we need to work on the control box, the ABL control box. Now, that's pretty straightforward. Do have to do a little work on the power supply though. So I'm going to move this out of the way. So if anybody is wondering, yes, I did install a, whatchamacallit, I did install my words, English, language. There is a Gecko Tech Easy Stick hot sheet on the CR-10 because that has given me the best adhesion overall. Now, what we don't want to do when we're connecting this, there's only one thing that you don't do, and that's connect it directly to the AC input. You have to connect it from the output on this. So I'm going to strip my wires here. I think it was like 14 gauge or something like that. 14. So what you don't want to do is on the PSU here, you can see there are, on mine, there's this little cover here that I popped up. So there's this connector here. See right here, this is common, neutral, and line. These are the AC. It says it right here, AC, so it's kind of hard to screw it up. But you do not want to connect it there. AC will completely blow out your breakout board for the sensor, and then you will be sad. So I'm not going to go over configuring the firmware with this. If you have any experience with this and you're comfortable enough with doing this upgrade, you should be comfortable enough with understanding Marlin and reading through the firmware. It's pretty straightforward. You go into the configuration.h file, make sure it's configured properly for your printer, and yeah. So I tried stripping this with my wire strippers, but the gauge is too small. I have nothing big enough, so I have to use my teeth, so no one judge me. Okay, I did not grab a Phillips screwdriver, even though I knew I would need one. The length of this screwdriver is extra. Length of this screwdriver is extra, but I don't care. So it doesn't really talk about like where you should mount this little control box. So I'm just gonna, just pull a positive. Well, I'm gonna pull a positive and a negative lead, obviously. But I'm just gonna put these. So like, it's annoying to deal with this. So I'm just gonna pull up the screw right here. Put this lead down here. And put this right here. Screw that down nice and tight. And that wire is not going anywhere. And then we're going to take the black wire. Really shouldn't be doing this right over the control board. We're going to take the black wire. Pliers for this. Insert that into the connector. Now I know what you're thinking, wouldn't it just be easier to just put it in the connector from the board? And yes, it would be. But I like making things difficult for myself. Now, so I was going to chat with someone from TH3D about that, whether or not I should be installing this directly on the power supply leads, or if I should, like, do this not on the power supply leads. Well, either directly on the power supply leads, or like the ones going into the board, like the ones that power the board. And I didn't. Every single thing that I saw, and even in the Creality group chat, people are just like, I just put it on the board. That's another thing too. There was a debate in the Creality group chat about whether or not we should be doing EZABL, or if the group should be doing BL Touch. They're two completely different sensors in the way that they work. The EZABL is like an inductive sensor kind of thing. It's not an inductive sensor because it's not metal, but it can sense the glass build plate. But it uses, I think it's like capacitance or something like that, something along those lines, in which it like senses the build plate, and it's not like detecting the metal underneath the build plate, or it's detecting like a magnetic sheet. Like, it's detecting the glass physically. So I don't know how that works. Also, this one is a lot more straightforward in comparison to the what is that thing called? I am doing really bad with words today. What the heck? That's the Z max switch, right? Z stop, yeah. So it's 2 wires. Tango uno problemo. Unless is this 3 wires? Z end stop, yeah. So oh, I see. Okay, so that's all we really need to do. I just have to make sure this thing powers up before I close the whole box back up. And let's see. So let me a few seconds today it is. Okay, cool, because I didn't want to get up. This is not grounded though. Don't care. I'm just going to test it. It needs to be grounded. Arg! Okay, if we get blue smoke, that's no bueno. this in. Plug this in. Check that. That turns on. This is power. Cool. Alright, so now that that's working, let's close this box back up. So, if I remember correctly, I think this is just facing up like this. So, and I have the 4 screws right here. They're a little bit more of a domed head. And then we just screw these in, if I can find the right drill bit, not drill bit, like, you know what I mean, Allen key. I'm really lost for words today. Okay, so you screw these screws back in here. One. And I know everyone's probably asking, what's up with the White Knight build, the Squire build? I haven't seen the build in a while. It's been a struggle recently. I had to take a break from it, or else I was going to break the machine because I was getting too frustrated. But you will see some more builds soon, I promise. As soon as I stop losing my mind over it. Now, so I need to get my friend to cut the rods again because I did some things to it, and yeah, it won't work now. Well, I had to order new metal. I got really mad at myself trying to get the bearings on. I was stupid enough to try and hammer them on, and then I couldn't get it off, so. And then I'm like, oh, well, I need to get a new rod. And then Carl said that he found a better rod for it. And then I was like, well, I'm buying new rods anyway. I'm buying a new rod anyway, so I might as well just buy 2. Now, there's this tiny little screwdriver that they give you to put the wires in. I'm going to feed these through a little hole in the case here. This, like, an exhaust hole. And then I'm going to, because you don't need all this slack, I believe. So I'm going to just fold this wire up. This might come to bite me later, but I don't really care. I'm going to fold this wire up, just close her up inside of here. Because I don't want all this slack like hanging out of the box. I want the wire to be routed nicely. So I'm going to close this box up, clip this cable here, tuck this away right here by the wires, the other wires, and just close her up. So backlight is right here. Close that on there. 5 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. And since I have one of the screws from the front case, I lost one of these before, but now that I have one from the top thing, I can actually close this as soon as I find the drill bit for that. Okay. So we put 1 screw right here. So they're very tiny screws. They serve absolutely no purpose besides closing up this case. It's very interesting what I do to my machine. So the Mark 2.5 Bear, Mark 2.5 S Bear, it's a very long name, has an external MOSFET on it because I've burned the connector on the motherboard more times than I can count now. So it's not even like I couldn't even get a single connector to go in there. So those wires are actually soldered to the back of the Rambo board. And then this one's going to have the external board. My Mark TH3 isn't really modified outside of the extruder and the cool stepper motor, the cool power stepper motor that I put on there. That's really it. Just a little different extruder design also. But yeah, so this wire will be like right here. And positive and negative wires here. This is perfect. So it doesn't take up a lot of space. I'm going to stick the wires back in here if I can. It doesn't feel like this board is actually screwed in there. It kind of feels like it's just shoved in there. And it just stays there because it's there. It doesn't feel like it's screwed down or anything, which I don't think it's screwed down. This screwdriver is useless. It's so tiny, I can't even use it. But yeah, okay. Hardest part is going to be to get this to level. Okay, let's make sure by me doing what I just did with the wires didn't screw anything up. So I should be able to turn this on, and this will be fine. Yes, green light. TH3D EZABL ready. Negative 14C on the nozzle makes sense. Run M48 test. Oh, I like that. Okay. Control. Motion. Probe Z offset. Okay, I like this. Cool. Okay, so this is working. We're going to turn that off. And I think we're done with the electronics box wise. So now I think I need to get the printer back out. Yes. I need to get the printer back out. And that means everything is going to be right here. So we're going to put the control box over here. Getting everything just kind of lined up here. Control box over here. Get the printer over here. Going. This thing is not light. Very much not light. Okay, so the cables come off right here. That sensor is right there. So now there's all that's left to do is we take the sensor, plug it into its spot in here. It's a 4-pin connector and it clicks into place. We do that. And then this is the bed little thing, so we screw that into place. And this is the hot end one. We screw that into place. Only goes in one way. There's a little groove. Connect that. Connect that. And then this rat nest of wires. So let's get all these wires back together. So I need the Z end stop goes to. This is Y. This is going to be Z. So Z motor right here. Z motor right here. Z end stop gets plugged in right here, like that, and then that groove goes there. Then we take this cover, slide it back on. We slide it back on. There we go. Snaps into place, closes. Cool. Slide that back into place. That's good. Okay, Z motor is on. That's on. That's on. Okay, this is the Y stuff. So Y motor right here. Y end stop is a little difficult. Z end stop is more difficult. It would help if I was trying to plug it in the right way. Then this is the top half, so this is the extruder one. Extruder goes right here. There we go. There's that, and then the x-axis is right. This is the x end stop, which is very annoying to get. It's like right here. It's buried in there. Gotcha. Cool. So now that should be everything. So let's give her some power again. All right. Give her some power. Light is on. Okay, now let's see what this thing says. So, plug the EZABL sensor, yada yada. Make sure firmware setup is all good. Do not home your Z or home all until you verify that the firmware is seeing the connector, the sensor correctly, and you have calibrated the sensor. You can damage your hot end and or your printer. Okay, so I need my computer now. I need my computer. I need the USB cable for this. As I was saying, we're going to do the general setup of this. I'm not going to go into detail on everything. There are many videos on TH3D's website on how to do everything that I'm about to do here. So let's just get into this. So I'm just going to open up my computer here, and we're going to go into a program to understand what is happening with this. Anything that allows you to send G-code. So I'm opening up Simplify 3D right here. I think this has a baud rate of 115,200, and yes it does. So we send the command, where is it? Next, connect to your printer over your preferred slicer. Issue an M119 command. Crap. Capital. Reporting end stop status. Zmin open. Okay, if it does not, then switch the switch. This is annoying. Shouldn't have closed this yet. Flip the switch. Flip the switch. I lost the stupid thing. Flip the switch. Okay. And it thinks I closed my computer. That's cool. Can you at least give me my screen back? Hello. Thank you. Okay, M119. Open, open, open. M119. Open, open, triggered. Perfect. Okay, it is mounted. Now that we have the wiring completed and verified that your printer is seeing the sensor, now we've downloaded yada yada. When you route the wire for your sensor, don't create a pinch point. Okay, calibrating the sensor. If you have a heat bed, do this with your bed heated to your normal printing temperature. So let's heat up. Prepare. Control temperature. Nozzle. I'm setting the nozzle also, because I like to do these both at the same time. Then bed, where I think I print at, I'm just going to set it to 60. I think I usually print at 50, but I don't think it will matter that much. If you print at different temperatures, you are printing, then select one in the middle of the highest and lowest. Okay, correct. Now I have to see what temp I print at. I print at 45°C on the bed. Very off. Actually, let's change that to 50. We're going to print with 50 on our bed. So prepare, control, temperature, 50. Okay. That's that. Manually move the Z with the printer LCD on your computer up high until the nozzle is on the bed. Then move the Z up 2 millimeters for EZABL Pro. Okay, I need to find that very tiny screwdriver to turn the very tiny, and I found it, to turn the very tiny screw that is on this sensor. Okay. So we are heating up. Great, I forgot there's still filament in here. Okay, so what does this thing say? Okay. It was right in the center of the bed. So the sensitivity is wrong on this, because right now it says it's triggered. It's nowhere near to my build plate. So we're going to fix that with this tiny little screw. Okay, we're pretty much at temp, so I'm just going to lower this back down. It's pretty much 2 millimeters away. Okay, so turn the screw counterclockwise. Until the light turns off. There we go. Okay. There we go. Okay. Okay. Setting your Z offset. I highly recommend, now that we have the sensor installed and calibrated, this is the distance the printer needs to move the head down to place it on the bed after the sensor. Okay, so do all of this, yada yada. Set a G28 command. How high are you going to raise up? There we go. It's like Jesus. Okay. Goes into the center of the bed. Well, the sensor's center. Okay. Now, to set your Z offset and do a G28, let it sit there for 1 minute after the bed has reached its target temperature. After home, and the Z will show 5 millimeters. This is not included. Move the Z down 5 millimeters before proceeding. Temperature plot, jog controls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Enter the number. Okay. Once you do that, okay. No, you will now need to grab a standard sheet of paper. So it's control. I think it's motion. Probe Z offset. Okay. It doesn't look like much because here's my leveling sheet of paper. Then we go in here, hit store settings, get a little thing, and then we're good. And then we do that, okay. Now do another G820, okay. Okay, now do another G28 command. G code, no, so G28, send it again. We'll home everything again. do that, go there, and it will home exactly in the center. Then we lower it down 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is at 0, and it's grabbing the paper. Perfect. Okay, cool. Can now move the nozzle down, yada yada. We recommend using the baby step feature below. If you notice that you always have to baby step a certain amount, let's say you have a baby step and you can change, okay, yeah. Okay. So, now I guess I do this thing now. It's like this prepare, it's called Run M48 test. I don't know what this thing does. It's like a standard deviation test or something like that. .001965. Yes. That's what I call a leveled bed. Okay. Now we have to go in here. There's a file section. How long have we been going? 55 minutes. Just reaching an hour. Cool. Perfect. So downloads. This is in the TH3D Unified Firmware, EZABL, EZABL STL files, no. Probe mounts, no. Firmware, gantry leveling box, installation guides, printer drivers, Windows Arduino, no. Bed level test STL, no. Open the EZABL located in the installation guides folder. There we go. EZABL Pro, starting G code. Okay, so we have to do this, put this in here, dump this into my start G code, put that in there. Do not turn on any, okay. To get the best first layer, we recommend 150% first layer width. Okay, so where's that? So, first layer width, 150%. 150%, 0.3 millimeters. It's based on percents. I'm using Simplify 3D for this. Print slow. 25 to 30% speed. So if I'm printing at 70 millimeters per second, wow, what are these speeds? So we're going to go at like, what's 20% of 70? 14? Yeah, that's 14 millimeters per second. So we'll do, let's do 25%. So that's 17.5. What about, it's 21 millimeters per second. So we'll do like 29. So let's see. So that's, okay, so 28% speed for the first layer. Use a skirt set 2 to 3 millimeters from the part. So additions, use skirt / bin. 2.5, 3 outlines, skirt layers 3, temperature, okay. Imports. There is a bed leveling test in here, which I'm going to use. I guess we're going with this anyway. So let's go with the 275 test. .275 test looks good. 17 minutes, okay. So I need to load some filament in here before we start this. Got some PLA Pro Select Iron Gray right behind me. Looks good. Okay, I need to mount the spool holder back on here. So here's the 2 screws. Here's this guy right here. Okay. And then this is so if I need to do the baby stepping, I can. And that will live adjust the Z also. I can close this box now that I'm certain that everything is good. What time is it? 9 o'clock. So we've been on here for about an hour now. Perfect. That's screwed in there. Good. Okay, let's raise the Z. Chilling with that. So I'm not going to try and level it, because it doesn't need it. So this is just going right now. Getting my values for this. Almost there. Almost done. How many more times is this gonna do this? Almost done. Come on. Not like I don't have any patience, but I don't have any patience. There we go, I think it's done. And how in the world do you do this? I remember there was something where I could stop this from going. Here we go. Okay, so P we're setting to 17.16. I we're setting to 1.39, and D we're setting to 53.07. Okay, cool. So that's all good. Now, I guess that means I can send this to there. Begin printing over USB. Bed's heating up. Start getting the extruder reheated. Control temperature. Nozzle 215. I think I actually print at like 200 with this, or maybe it's 205, something like that. It's 205. Tools, machine control panel. I started a print. So I'm gonna chill here and make sure this goes down good before I go upstairs, but I'm pretty sure this is gonna go good. Auto bed leveling is installed. I gotta actually push in the filament now. There. It's like butting up against whatever was in there. Do, 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 do. It says get into the habit of homing your printer while it heats up. So I homed it. Okay, that's good. I never actually print all the way to drag controls. I don't need to home all disable motors. To unplug this. I gotta have a benchy in here, right? Yeah, I have a benchy in here. Benchy, 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 benchy.